So the tool is called a now alarm. And this is like you're going to take action now. You literally set an alarm in your phone that goes off at a certain time every single day that says now. And when it says now, you literally have to write down something that you are going to take action on now that you're doubting yourself on, whether you're the older or the younger. And then you're going to reach out to somebody who is either older or younger and ask them for advice.
Today's a fun podcast because I have my friend on today, someone who I've been friends with for actually many years, but never met in person. His name's David Nurse. And David is quite a guy. He used to be an MBA coach, right?
Yes.
Okay. Turned author of multiple books.
Yes.
And he is a mindset, like he's basically a performance coach, a mindset expert. And his newest book is called Do It. I love the name. The Life-Changing Power of Taking Action. And you know why I love the title is because all I ever yammer on about is like action, taking action. And then you wrote an entire book about taking action.
Just for you. You
Really?
gave me that idea. You were talking about taking action in our last podcast. I was like, you know what? I want to write this book so I can come on Jen's podcast.
Specifically for me.
And here we are.
Exactly. Well, it worked because here you are, right?
Yep.
I'm so happy to have you here. So like legit, because this made us get actually introduced in person for the first time in God knows in all the years I've known you. So let's start from the beginning. Now this is now what, your third book?
Third book now, yeah.
Your first book was called?
Pivot and Go.
Second book?
Breakthrough.
And this one now?
Is now Do It.
How do you have all these ideas? They're all very much about mindset and motivation and personal development. But I feel like you just like spit out one nice book after another.
I think, you know what, like they're different concepts that I have and written for different people. So Pivot and Go was written for somebody who is stuck. And I feel like everybody at some point gets stuck in their lives. Just so happened that became the hot term during COVID, wrote it before COVID. But anybody who's feeling stuck could read these little small pivots in perspective and see things from a different perspective. Breakthrough is more of a formula that I've used with NBA players and coaches and CEOs that I've seen them perform at a high level. So it's like, okay, because we all see this with high performers, like why are they at that high level? But yet there's really no formulaic expression for it. So I just did research on what was working and I put it into a 4-quarter breakthrough quadrant. So that was more towards the high performer who wants to take it to the next level. Now, Do It is an interesting one. And this one I'm really excited about. I think probably like it's the cheesiest thing for an author to say, hey, my new book's the best one, go get it. But
you're going to say it anyway.
It's a different concept here and it's a different type of writing that I've done. And I give the 40,000 foot view as Atomic Habits meets the Enneagram with crazy cool Malcolm Gladwell type stories of historical figures from the past who changed the world. So what I mean by that is you're going to get the tools to be able to figure out what your action archetype is. Now, action archetype is the reason you are holding yourself back from where you are currently today to where you want to go in the future. Everybody has something holding them back. And maybe it's something bigger than others. Maybe it's multiple things. But at different times in our lives, we are different action archetypes. And we can go through those. And I'll give you a few examples. Like, I looked up some stats on this. Check this out. This is incredible. 31% of adults worldwide have more confidence based on clear skin. 31, that's almost 1/3 of people. Like, hey, you got clear skin, you're more confident. Get this, better looking people, meaning of just the term, the clear skin as we're putting that with, earn 12% more financially over their lifetime. 12% more? That literally could be millions of dollars. You are investing a lot into the lab, into the science, into the research. It is so far a no-brainer why anybody would use anything else other than OneSkin. Like, is there anything like you can even think of that makes sense? Like, I'm trying to, and I can't. I want to say, out of the kindness of your guys' heart, you are providing for our listeners a special pricing code, which will be in the show notes. So look in the show notes to try out OneSkin for yourself.
Strongly recommend to subscribe to our newsletter. We want to empower everyone because we know that the choices that we are making today will definitely impact how you're, are gonna age tomorrow.
Other people's opinion, which I call the allodaxophobic. That means fear of other people's opinions. There's other ones like the blamer, where somebody's always blaming other people. We know these type of people. Maybe it's you listening to this right now. The scarcityist. So you're living in a scarcity mindset. You're just trying to hold on to things. You're trying to hoard them. You're trying to not be able to go out and serve and share with others because you think you only get one slice of the pie. There's 6 others, 9 total, through doing 3 years of studies, surveys, crazy research, more than I've ever done. And then I go into why it's actually happening neurologically in the brain. Like, why are people really fearing other people's opinions? There's different things happening in the brain and then also in the heart, the feelings that hold us back. So each section has heart science, brain science, and then the coolest thing, these Malcolm Gladwell type stories, these historical figures. You probably, like, a lot of people haven't heard of these people. Like, one guy's Lewis Latimer, for example. Incredible guy. I'd never heard of him before, but he literally is the person behind Thomas Edison and Alexander Graham Bell, why they did what they did. Without him, they're not those people. It's mind-blowing. But each one of these people had the same struggle, like, of these 9 different types. They came to a moment when they could have just taken the easy route and just, kind of just went through the motions like a lot of people will. Or take action, take a risk, take action. And they all obviously took action, and they changed the world through it.
I love that. That's a great, that diatribe that you were just on was perfect, because it really did kind of give you everything that you needed right there. And so are you saying that we all fall into one of these archetypes, action archetypes? Could we be a mix? Could we blend the two? Okay.
That's what's really cool about it. So the Enneagram, you are one type, and that's kind of a personality self-awareness. Mm-hmm. This is something where you might change. Like, I know for myself, for example, at one point I feared other people's opinions. I had this opportunity when I was doing basketball camps and before I coached or worked with any NBA players. Mm-hmm. I got this opportunity from a friend of mine who was a high school coach. He had the #1 player in the country. And he told me, David, come up and work him out. And this is like what everybody dreams of if you're an NBA trainer. Like, you get to work with this guy who's going to be an NBA superstar.
Who was it, by the way?
Aaron Gordon. He's still in the NBA. He's the dunk champion. People will know about him if you know the NBA. He was a stud up at Archbishop Midi in San Jose. So I go up there. I'm going to work him out.
Work him out how? Training personally?
Yeah. Training, like basketball skills, like skill development type stuff.
Skill development stuff, okay.
And when you do this, then you're like, okay, I worked with this player. It really helps on your resume. NBA trainers do this all the time. But I was going to go in. I was literally about to go in the gym to work him out, and I got scared. Like, I was afraid of what this 16-year-old kid was going to think of me and think like I'm an imposter here going into this.
Yeah.
So I go home. I make some excuse that I was feeling sick. By God's grace, 2 weeks later, the coach, Tim Kennedy.
You never went in?
I didn't go in. No. Because I was
really
living
were
in
scared.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd never done it before, so I was scared. So that was fear of other people's opinions.
Yeah.
So, and it's also there's another one called the underestimator. I also thought, like, who am I to work this guy out? I'm just this small town kid from Iowa. Who am I to go be this potential NBA trainer or coach? And a lot of us will struggle with that. Like, oh, I was born in this town. This person has more advantages than me. Or their parent is this. Like, no. That's just lies and excuses you're telling yourself. So 2 weeks later, he asked me again, hey, do you want it? Are you feeling better? And I did it. One of my friends kind of pushed me towards it. My friend comes and films it. We send this film to some NBA agents. They like it. They pick it up. I start training their players. And before I know it, I'm training over 150 NBA players over the next 10 years.
Really?
Because of that, because I took action. But as you saw, I was struggling with fear of other people's opinions to begin.
So how did you overcome that fear?
You know what? Literally, it was because my friend pushed me towards it. Now, there's tools in the book that I tell you, you can actually use. That was just by sheer, force, basically. He's like, dude, you're stupid. Do it. Who cares what a 16-year-old thinks? And when I think about it, who
Thank
cares
God.
but who cares what anybody thinks, honestly, right? because we all get so caught up in the like other people's opinions. What do they think? Oh, you know how long somebody actually thinks about you? Probably about 10 seconds.
I think that's too long. I think people actually
maybe
think
not
about
even.
you for like 2 seconds.
2 seconds, yeah.
And like that's why a lot of times we're so fearful of even like doing something, how we're going to look stupid or this, and nobody even cares. They're too busy paying attention to themselves and thinking about themselves.
Bingo. Or thinking about what they're going to eat for dinner that night.
100%.
Yeah, exactly. I tell it in talks.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm on stage, I'm saying, you know why I don't care what any of you think. Sure, I want you to like me. It'd be awesome. I want everybody listening to this podcast to be like, man, David, super cool dude. Like, I want to kick it with him. But ultimately, I could care less because when I go home, I know I have God and my smoking hot wife, and that's all I need.
That's all you need.
Literally.
That's
yeah.
amazing. So then, so give us a couple of the tools that you talk about to overcome fear if we don't have a friend that you had that literally pushes and nudges us out to train the 16-year-old.
Yes.
Give us a couple of those tools.
Yeah. So here's my favorite one. It's called Be the Comedian. So think about your favorite comedy show. Mine was The Office with a guy named Michael Scott.
I loved it.
It's one of the best all time. If you ever watch it, there's something wrong with you.
Right.
Anyways, he's always getting himself in trouble. He's a regional manager for Dunder Mifflin, a paper company. He's always saying something to put his foot in his mouth and just getting in these situations, and it's hilarious. But for him, it's incredible stress and anxiety. So think about that. When you're going through some time where other people are judging you or it's a stressful, anxious time, you're fearing some of the other person's opinion, take a step back. So you go from Michael to being the viewer. And then when you can look at yourself as a comedy show, you start to laugh. You're like, oh, that's kind of funny, actually, that you're going through it. Because you're going to get through it. Either that or you'll die, and then it won't matter.
Right. Or it's also like such a blip in your life, right? Like, who cares after like a minute or two? You're kind of, or like at the moment, like it lasts. It's a finite period of time, and then it's over.
Yeah, but you can actually laugh at yourself, and there's some really tons of studies on how healthy that is and how much overall happiness and contentment you have if you are able to just not take yourself so damn serious.
Yes, that's the problem. We take ourselves too damn seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
So then, okay, of this list, let's go through them. So the first one I can barely pronounce.
Allodaxophobic. That's the fear of other people's opinions.
That's the fear of other people's opinions. Okay, what's the burned? The burned action archetype.
Yes, so the burned.
Archetype, I should say.
So think about it. Like somebody burnt you. Let's take it for dating, for example. Okay. A lot of people will say, oh, well, I got burnt. You know, they did me wrong. They dumped me. I'm not going to put my heart out there. Because of somebody from the past did something to you, you're going to take that past and you're going to put it on somebody from the future, either on yourself to hold yourself back. Like, hey, I'm not going to take a chance. Why would I put my heart out there? I got burnt. No, that's just an excuse. The past is literally what happens in the past is going to lead you to what you are going to be in the future. But people in the burn situation will hold themselves back from taking action because they feel like they were done wrong. So it's ultimately the past, somebody in the past, is you're allowing them to hold back. And there's a thing called traumatic age regression. So this concept was incredible when I was doing the research on it. It's when something happens in your past, you freeze in that moment. Like you literally, until you address that situation, that traumatic situation in the past, you can't mentally get over it. It's like if you had a bad childhood and you go back to your childhood home, you ultimately go back into that person you were as a kid. Until you are able to be aware of it, accept it, address it, you will not be able to move on. You stay frozen in that moment.
That feeling when you are just recharged, you don't have any sickness, no ailments, you have full optimal energy, you are functioning at your highest level. You want to recreate that? Yeah, sure, you do, I do, we all do. And then you can times it by 10. What I'm about to tell you is going to blow your mind. So hold on here. This is real. Hyperbaric chamber. If you don't know what it is, look it up right now. Look up Eleve Health, ELEVE health.com. It's an oxygen miracle. What it is, HBOT, the hyperbaric chamber, it's a simple and non-invasive therapy where you go into this, it places a body in a pressurized environment that allows extra oxygen to dissolve in the blood plasma and travel freely throughout your circulatory system, getting more red blood cells flowing naturally to the body's function. It's going to help you kill off any harmful bacteria. It's going to help you detox, increase your oxygen concentration, resist and fight infection, heal wounds faster, improve oxygen supply, reduce swelling, stop infection, lower inflammation, all while you're relaxing in the chamber. I kid you not. This is what the pros, the top Olympic athletes, what everybody uses for the highest optimization recovery. This is called hyperbaric chamber, HBOT, from Eleve Health, ELEVE Health.com. Message me separately too if you want to get a specific deal on this. Check it out as you're a sports team, if you're an individual, if you're just somebody who loves optimization. It will be an absolute life changer for you.
Well, I was going to say to you, in what world is procrastination sexy? I don't think it's sexy in any world.
There's books written on it lately that have been coming out.
Really?
Yeah, they're like, you can do your best creative work when you procrastinate.
I've never seen that. Seriously.
I'll tell you. I'll show you.
Yeah, that's weird because I just did a whole podcast on procrastination, and it's like to me, it's like it is one of the biggest sources of stress because it's
agree.
like something you're not. If it's always going to be lingering, and it's something you're not doing, so that's why I would think that I'm surprised there's books about this.
I totally agree. Yeah.
But I love the idea of that alarm because that actually is such an actionable thing where it will stop you from that's an actionable thing that people can do to propel them forward.
Yeah, totally. It goes off.
Yeah.
You have to do it.
You have to do something.
Yes, you literally have to do something. I mean, you can actually turn the alarm off, and you don't have to do it.
You can press snooze.
You can do whatever you want with that. But you know what's funny that I found too? Like when we're talking about, there's excuses and there's fear that everybody has. So self-esteem obviously is how you feel about yourself, your self-love. And that's really important. And a lot of people talk about that, and I agree. And then self-confidence is also very important because that is the self-awareness of who you are in a moment. But it's self-efficacy that's actually the game changer. It is self-esteem plus self-confidence, because self-efficacy, tough one to get out, is acting as the person that you know and see yourself to be in the future.
100%.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I write about that, the whole chapter on this.
There you go. See, once again, you know what? I think I might have just stolen every chapter of your book.
Did you just rewrite my book?
Maybe. Oh, jury's out.
I mean, I'm just saying. But no, self-efficacy is way more important. It's a feeling of you believing that you can do something is way more important than if you think you can do something, then you can do something. And it really does propel you to the action.
It's so true.
Right.
Because why people can't is because they're not able to see the future principle opportunity of, you look at a situation happens. Okay. You either look at it one or two ways. It's the future principle or it's a lost opportunity. Now it's, hey, this happened. Dang, I'm going to regret that. Oh, shoot. Well, I just got fired from my job. Oh, it's over. Or you look at it as a future opportunity of, oh, I got fired from my job, but I learned all these skill sets that I can use for this even better job. So it's a one of two ways. But if people can't see themselves as that future self, then you have no idea where you are going, and you will never get there.
That's 100% true. You also talk about in your book, similar to mine, the self-distancing thing, right? The alter ego.
Yes.
How that's important too.
Yes.
Now, in what area were you just referring to that? Were you just talking about it? Or
it is a tool, and that's just it is a tool of one of those archetypes, which I cannot remember which tool it is for right now, but it's the reverse alter ego.
Yeah, the reverse alter ego.
Yeah, so it is. It's I want to say it's the blamer. I think. Maybe not.
No, I think you're probably right.
Okay.
Blamer.
Okay. Because you take yourself, so you reverse the alter ego. So here's how it works. Like, if I did something in the past that I am still beholden to, like I was younger and I'm still in this frame of mind, I give myself, well, that was little Davy that did that. That's my reverse alter ego. Now I'm create which we know as the alter ego, is you can have it as a superhero, or you can have Sasha Fierce or something like that, or Wonder Woman, or
Why do you know this? Why is this my alter ego? This could be my actual. That's maybe who I am.
That's what I'm saying. But
Not
you
even
become your alter ego.
You
I
can
mean,
become your alter
Superman
ego.
and Clark Kent are the same person, right?
That's true.
There you go.
That's true.
So
you look like him a little bit. Has anyone ever told you that before?
my love language is words of affirmation.
is it?
So thank you very much.
Oh, you look a little bit like Clark Kent. Don't you think so, Will?
Come on, can we get a movie deal? The next Superman.
Doesn't he a little?
Come on, Will. Give me some props. Thank you.
A little. He's quiet on his phone, but a little bit, right? Okay. By the way, I wanted to kind of we'll go back to some of these other action archetypes, but why don't we talk a little bit first about how you became the NBA skills coach, like what your give me a little bit of origin story so people know how you even came to be someone who's writing these books. We kind of skipped that part because we were just like
we just got into it. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. But like, because were you a mind coach? Were you a physical skill coach? Like, which one were you? Were you both at different points of your life? Give me your origin story.
So here's how it went. Well, I thought I was going to play in the NBA.
Right.
I grew up in this small town of Iowa. I got a vertical leap of about 2 inches. So, I mean, my parents probably should have said play tennis or golf, but I loved basketball. Poured every waking hour into it.
Really?
Oh yeah, loved it. So, but I could shoot. I had no athletic gene, but I could shoot, and that was my only gift. So I got to play college basketball, and I got to play professionally overseas. And if we're being completely honest, it was probably more like the Will Ferrell semi-pro type of professional overseas. And we'll fast forward to year 3. I played in Australia, Greece, and Spain. I'm playing in northern Spain in the Basque region. They don't even speak Spanish up there. Literally, probably don't really know what basketball is. But I'm pouring in 2-a-days, film study, like nutrition, like all of this kind of stuff. And they're like, where's the party at drinking beers at halftime? So I get cut from this team after the first preseason game, Jen. Yeah. So think about every hope, goal, and dream you had, no backup plan, and it's taken away from you, turned upside down, and your face rubbed in the dirt. So I come back, but you know what? It's the greatest blessing. You know, it's when something like that happens, when a door shuts, I'll show you why. So I'm living on my parents' recliner chair, feeling bad for myself in Kansas City. And my mom would always say these motivational and inspirational quotes. And usually it was whatever, mom, in one ear, out the other ear. But she said this one that stuck with me. I was kicked back in the chair. She was doing dishes. She said, David, when one door closes, 4 open in an entire beachfront patio overlooking the ocean. I was like, hold up, mom. I thought it was one door. What's this 4 doors beachfront deal here you got going? But it hit me is that when a door closes, it's not a door shutting on your life. It's an opportunity for 4 more doors to open for something bigger and better to come, realizing that my gift was not to play in the NBA, but it was to coach players with more God-given ability, 7-foot height, and athleticism to do so. So I made it my goal right then and there. I was going to coach in the NBA.
How old are you at this point?
24.
Okay. And so here you are, like basically crying in your mom's recliner.
Yeah.
She gave you this whole thing about the 4 doors, and you're like, now's my time to become an NBA coach, which, by the way, is not exactly an easy thing to do either. Forget about being an NBA player.
Yeah.
How does one even become an NBA coach? Like,
Great
what is
question.
what is the even process? Is there an application that I get on NBA at NBA.com? Like, what do I do?
That's funny. Yeah, very good question. Great setup. So I hand wrote a letter to every NBA GM. I decided I was going to take action on this because you can't just sit around and wait for the phone to ring and hey, I'm sure the NBA knows I want to coach. No, that didn't happen that way.
Yeah.
Nobody got back to me. I kept checking the mail. Month and a half later, there's
handwritten letters.
So
how many? And don't exaggerate.
30 NBA teams, handwritten letters, every single one.
To who? The actual coach?
I sent it to whatever address I could find. It was more management, assistant GM,
Okay.
not the coaches. So I sent it to front office management. Nothing back for a month and a half. I get a call from a 310 area code number. That's Los Angeles. It's the GM of the Clippers at the time, Gary Sachs. We have a quick conversation. At the end of it, he says, if you're ever out in LA, look me up. We'll grab coffee. Just being nice. Basically, good luck with the rest of your life, kid.
He actually wrote you an actual...
No, call. Phone call.
Okay,
Phone call. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a quick phone call. So I took that as an
nice of him.
opportunity. Yeah, it was very nice. He's one of the nicest guys. I took that as an opportunity. I booked a ticket, spent all my money, stole some of my parents' money, literally, to book a ticket to be in LA to act like I was going to do a basketball camp the following week. So I prepared my butt off for this meeting. I'm studying up for it, and I'm nervous as can be. I can literally still remember walking into his room, sweating through my button-up shirt that I had on. I was so nervous, but we hit it off. Great meeting. Every NBA connection I've ever gotten, Eric Spoelstra is a very good friend, or even the job I got with the Nets later down the line, stemmed from Gary Sachs. I ended up living with him when I moved to LA. He was in my wedding. He's one of my best friends to this day. We talk all the time because I took the chance when I was scared to take a risk of writing every handwritten letter. When I had what did I have to lose though? But most people will make some excuse like, no, well, why would they want me, you know? And it leads to that. So fast forward 5 years, I was running basketball camps. I created this because now I had to make myself like the NBA would want me. I couldn't once again just wait for Gary to say, hey, this guy, David, take him.
Well, wait, hold on. I want to hear how it played out. You said cut to he's in your wedding, you're staying with him. Before you cut to, how did the relationship evolve from that point? So here you are, you sweat through your shirt, you're meeting with this guy in his office.
Yeah.
And then what was the first thing that kind of happened from that meeting?
So I knew I had to make the NBA want me.
To do what? Because here you're a 24-year-old kid.
Right, to be a shooting coach. That was my one gift. So I realized this is what I can do. I can teach this.
So that was the thing you were the best at,
Yep,
right? Okay.
I can become the best shooting coach. So I looked up who is the best shooting coach. It was Chip England for the San Antonio Spurs. So I seeked out Chip England. I would write him emails. I would call their number. Never got back to me. So I go out to the Las Vegas. I figured out, where do all the NBA people hang out? In any industry, there's always some place that everybody comes together. This is Las Vegas Summer League, hot 100-degree weather in July. So I go out there year after year, and I'm connecting with people. I love relationships. I would get business cards and stay in touch.
You're very good.
Thank
By the
you.
way, I will say that David is one of the best networkers, connectors, and maintainers of relationships. That's how we met.
Yeah.
You reached out to me.
I did. Totally.
And he's very upbeat and happy. And you reached out to me, and in a very aggressive but yet sweet, nice way, relentless and tenacious. And not to say I'm anything special, but what I find interesting is that he beats you down in a nice way, and then you become friends with this person
That's
where
sweet
you
of
don't
you.
even remember how you
Thanks,
became friends
Jen.
with them, which is exactly how you did it. And that's your secret sauce.
Oh, that's nice.
It's
of you.
true, because you are unrelenting, and you do it in a way, which is, I think, the next book is how you can do that, because I think that is, to me, really the secret sauce of how people go from A to B. But anyway,
That's cool.
that's what I think.
That's a really good book concept.
I know.
See, since I stole this one,
I know. Well, actually,
now I can steal
I'm
the
actually
next
going to
one.
be writing that, so don't you
Oh,
dare
I'm
take
not.
it.
I've already got a
Okay.
different one going.
I'm
But
not kidding. But okay, so now let me ask you something. So now you're in Gary's office, right? Have you done any of these summer season Vegas things yet, or not yet?
when I was in Gary's office. So after that, I did.
But okay, so then did he give you that idea, or you figured it out?
No, I just figured they all
Okay.
have to be somewhere. And I
Good.
really wanted to meet this guy, Chip England.
Okay.
So I finally meet him. I see him walking down the Las Vegas Thomas and Mack Arena corridor.
Okay.
And I spark up a conversation with, he obviously knew that I was hitting him up a zillion times in email. And he's
Right.
like, hey, I respect that. You're really trying to get there. And
Totally.
he took me under his wing, and he gave me some great advice I used for years and years when I was training players. But the thing that I had to do was also what I was saying, make the NBA want me, become a great shooting coach. Part of that was that Aaron Gordon, working with him. That was all in that process of, I was living out of my car for 5 years doing basketball camps for anybody that would take me in. I custom made these terrible leather, super bad basketballs, sent them to the Oakland seaport. I drove 29 hours from Kansas City to Oakland with these long haul truckers all around me. I'm
Wow.
piling balls into my car. That's when I spend the next 5 years
Excuse me.
living out of the back, literally living out of my car, sleeping in well-lit Walmart parking lots.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah, multiple times.
For
Yeah.
what? For how long?
About 5 years, but not just sleeping, but most of the time I was crashing on friends' couches.
Okay, but sometimes
Yeah.
were you saying seriously you're sleeping in the?
Oh, it's probably 10 to 15 nights I would. Yeah,
Okay.
instead of pay $49.99, because I looked at it as one person at a camp was $40. Did I really want to spend a night at a hotel or just sleep in the back of the car? I didn't care. It was fine.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So this whole time you were now keeping in touch with Gary Sachs.
And all these other people that I made relationships
Right,
with.
okay.
So 5 years go by. I wake up.
Now you're 29?
20, I think I was 28 then. So
Okay.
it was 24 to 28. So then I wake up in Melbourne, Australia, and I get an email. It says Brooklyn Nets shooting coach. And I didn't know anybody from the Nets. So I literally thought it was somebody playing a joke. But I opened it up, and that next week, I'm in Brooklyn as their shooting coach.
Stop it.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
how you ended up there?
That's how I ended there. 2 months after the season started, I came on. Now, the crazy story is, now here's the door closing, 4 opening. So we go from 28th to 2nd in three-point shooting percentage. Probably the worst culture at the time. Like, I could tell you crazy, wild stories about NBA culture that just blow your mind. But anyways.
No, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Hello, that's what I find interesting. I don't want to hear about all this other like sugary surf. I want to
So
hear about
let me tell you the truth about NBA cultures. And now
Okay.
it's obviously there's really good ones, and that's the ones that are special, and everybody wants to be. Everybody says, yeah, it's all about culture. But until you actually realize what culture means, you can't just get there. Because here's the thing that stands in the way of every culture, whether it's business or sports. It's a 3-letter word called ego. Everybody
Yeah.
has it. It's crazy. The trainers are holding players out so they have impact on the game. The equipment managers aren't given the right shoes so they have I could not believe it. I was working with players because I love it. Like that was my passion. There'd be assistant coaches that would come over to me and MF me, telling me not to work with that player because that's their player. Are you kidding me? Aren't we all on the same page to try to win a championship? But it's very rare that everybody is on the same page. Most people from the outside looking in, they're thinking like, oh, NBA job, that's so great. And I had a great experience,
Yeah.
but I would never go back.
No, I don't know if you know this. You know, I used to work for the NBA too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it was my first job.
Oh, I was a great friend of mine. Now you're just giving me this information?
Well, because it was so irrelevant to anything else I've ever done. It was my first job, and I was in like the sales team of like I was really young. I was like 19 or 20, and I literally hustled my way into the job by I was so tenacious with the head of something. I found some big executive there, and I was like,
That's awesome.
like a dog with a bone. I'm like, I want to work. It was like the first year the Raptors were playing.
Oh, Raptors.
Yes.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
it was like Tom Bitto. What was the name of the person? I don't remember. The owner or whatever. Anyway, I was relentless. They're like, fine, this girl's so annoying. We're going to give her a job in sales. And it was me and a bunch of guys, and I crushed the guys. That's not my
Nice.
point. My point is everyone was so different than I expected it to be within the
Totally.
culture. It is
Totally.
very cutthroat, it's very competitive. People were very
Yeah, it's for them.
yeah, it was
They're
different
totally
than-
cutthroat.
Yeah.
It's like they'd walk on eggshells and act like they were your friend, but you knew deep down they weren't.
Everyone was very two-faced, but I didn't know if it was just like corporate culture because I'd never had a job like that, or if it was like that culture. But I hated it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm digressing. So then go on. So then they.
No,
so
that's such a cool story. You had a story. Okay, I have to ask this because this story blew my mind and I never heard it before. And it's probably me being a bad question asker that I didn't get it out of you.
Okay.
But you had an Instagram story of how you reached out. It was to some big actor that you really looked up to, and somehow they got back to you. You know what I'm talking about?
It was Keanu Reeves.
That's the one!
But you have to watch my TED Talk. That to me
Oh.
is too long of a story. Why would the equipment guy give you a hard time though?
Ego. That's it.
But about what? I don't understand.
Great. Me neither, but so there's two ends of the spectrum. It's you either have, let's say it's at 0% on the left, that is ego, all about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
On the right side is full alignment with God of who you are made to be. Every day you wake up and it's a battle to try to get to the right side. Society, everything is dragging us down to the ego. Oh, you need to do you, your way. But that's never the way. And when it gets infested into teams, into corporations, ego explodes. It doesn't matter what role you're in. Everybody has it.
So how long did you last?
So to the end of the season, all right, we go from 28th to 2nd in three-point shooting percentage. The GM is telling me we'll give you a 3-year deal. I'm getting New York media hype of this young up-and-coming development coach. So I figured I'm in. Look at me, feeling myself and everything.
Yeah.
And me being young and dumb. If someone says, hey, we'll give you a 3-year contract, I would have said, okay, let's sign now. But I'm like, all right, cool. I trust you. I go back home for a couple weeks, in the off season, and then I come back to start the off season development workouts. New head coach comes in, boom, fired, just like that. I'm out. And there's crazy stories with this head coach that comes full circle, and this guy Kenny Atkinson. It's a couple crazy stories of lessons that I learned there. But I get fired, so it's the one door closing, 4 open, in a beachfront patio overlooking the ocean. I'm devastated at the time. I thought I was in the NBA. That was my goal. I thought I was in forever and good, So then I come out to Los Angeles, and I'm working for UCLA. A friend of mine coached UCLA, and then I meet this guy Casey Wasserman, and he brings me on to work with all his top NBA
I know
players.
Casey Wasserman.
Yes, Casey's awesome. Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the book then, because now I have all the information that I need about that. Let's talk more. Give me a couple. Let's wrap it up. Give me a couple more just archetypes of action people, and then I'll let you out of here. Let's go with the perfectionist and the test believer. How's those two?
Good ones. Okay, the perfectionist that is someone who literally thinks they have to have everything spot on before they can even take the first step. And there's never going to be anything that you have together perfectly before you're able to go. And it's such a debilitating thing to have. I don't know. That one drives me nuts that people can't just see that. Like you learn so much along the way. What's the saying? Ready, fire, aim.
Ready.
I think it's ready, fire, aim. Yeah.
Or, as opposed to ready, aim, fire. Yeah.
Yeah, and so people hold themselves back from if the only way you learn something, and let's say you're starting a business, is you're going to fail. There's a stat that of the success, super successful multi-billionaire business owners that started businesses like Henry Ford, Walt Disney, a ton of these guys.
Yeah.
They went through 7.2 massive roadblocks, meaning bankruptcies, failures, all these different things. Like Starbucks, I'll butcher this number, but there was 17 Starbucks stores in the first 18 years. Now there's a Starbucks on every corner and Starbucks within Starbucks.
I know. That's interesting. Even the first 18 years only. Are you sure that number is?
It's either 18 or 19 years. It's something that will blow your mind. I might have it off by 1 year, but it's very, very close on that. Yeah.
You're right. Now, it's weird. You go to a Starbucks, there's just literally a Starbucks in the Starbucks.
You know how much I hate that when I type in Starbucks and it sends me to Target?
I know.
I don't want Target.
It's 100%. Right here, you could go to there's a Starbucks in Ralph's or wherever, at a Target, and then a Starbucks in the Target, and a regular Starbucks. So you don't know what Starbucks. There's 3 Starbucks on the same pin that you're on.
But the point being is they went through 7.2 massive roadblocks, and they didn't have it together perfectly. They learned how to continue to improve, but people don't see that part of it.
Right. And so how do people get over that hump? A tool. Give me one.
The tool, I can't actually remember, this sounds bad as writing the own book. I can't remember the exact tool I gave for that one. There's a lot of different ways to get over perfectionism. And it's, one of the biggest ways is just, I do remember this one, Jen. It came back to me. It's your failure notes. So instead of celebrating successes, because most people will celebrate success, right? So it's a celebration of your failures. So you're literally, anytime you fail, you're writing it down in your journal, and you're celebrating the opposite. You're celebrating the failures, and those failures ultimately are going to lead you to having it the way it's supposed to be, or that you're actually able to bring impact through what you're doing. So it's a journal of celebration of failures. That's your tool.
That it is. Okay. And then let's do that last one,
the test believer. So the test believer is somebody who will look at the horoscopes or the Enneagram, and they'll think, well, since that's what it says about me, that's who I am. Right? You've seen those people horoscopes, oh, well, Mercury's in retrograde, so I'm not going to have a good month.
Yes.
Or,
that's so funny. Someone just said that to me yesterday. I'm like, come on. Mercury's in retrograde half the year. So is that always your fallback?
Yeah. So the tool for this one's a hilarious one, too. You'll like this one. But before we get to that point, and it is called Go Retrograde, the tool for this one.
Okay.
But the one that really kills me is when people say, well, I can't go out and meet people. I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. I mean, You might get your energy from being alone, but that doesn't mean you can't go talk to somebody.
Right.
People will put that label on themselves, or I'm introverted, I'm extroverted, and that's who they are, and that's who they live in, and every decision is based through that. I think that's a bunch of BS.
Right.
Going to Bora Bora for our wedding anniversary, me and my wife.
That's nice.
Super excited about
How long
that.
are you going for?
10 days.
Very nice.
The huts.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Okay, so
Have you been? I feel like you've been to every island.
I've been nowhere, first of all. I have not been there, actually. I wish I was.
Been
I
nowhere.
have. I want to go, though, especially I'm looking outside to this horrible rain.
Oh my God, it is raining again.
It's raining it's like doesn't stop here. My house is like falling in. It's like the money pit. The ceiling has literally fallen in. It's like it's flooding on every direction, which is why I need to like wrap this and go check it out. But it was a pleasure having you on my podcast.
Yeah, this was so much fun.
No, it really was. I'm
Yeah.
happy that we got to do this.
Do we get to hang out in person sometime?
Yeah,
Like, can
we can do
we
it.
take this like friendship to the next level? Like,
can.
hey, let's hang.
We can.
Let's kick
we
it.
could do it. We could do it. We could definitely, now that I've met you in person, we can definitely hang out again.
Yes.
This is exciting. So tell everybody, Mr. David,
Mm-hmm.
where they can find you and your book.
DavidNurse.com. Obviously here at Jen Cohen's studio right now.
And
If
having
you're
some hustle
creeping.
fun. Yes. Yes.
Anywhere books are sold, podcasts, The David Nurse Show, social media, pretty easy to be found.
The basics.
The basics.
The basics.
Yes.
Well, thank you. I think we can wrap. Thank you.